Savitri is facing the great danger, the danger of the head of life, life in all her great proportions, majestic as well as hostile and antagonistic, ugly and beautiful, great and small. Everything is present in life. Now, the entry of life is a great cosmic event in the scheme of things here. When in matter there was no life, then the gods in matter, in form, they cried to her and she obliged, and she entered in the spirit of adventure into matter. So it is something which is happening on a cosmic level, the entry of life into matter. She comes with great gusto, with great zest, with great expectation to change things in matter. That is her purpose. She takes a leap into matter without looking into what is going to happen. She lives without looking into the consequences. But she is a brave lady. She is a brava. She does not care for the consequences. And with all her power, with all her enthusiasm, with all her creative spirit, she steps into matter. The result is suddenly she gets stunned by something arising from below, from the inconscience, from the abyss, from the depths of darkness. She gets stunned. She meets death. Her entry into matter means the appearance of death. Life gets accompanied by death when she enters into matter. That is a kind of a natural consequence. In other words, there is a certain limitation in the power, in the life force, which cannot overcome entirely the opposition which can spring up from the inconscience. She succumbs to it. The only power that can overcome any obstacle, any opposition rising from below, the only power is that of the supermind. When supermind enters into matter, then nothing can oppose it. Life has that limitation. Yet she makes a daring, and it is in a certain sense her greatness, because out of that daring something starts happening in matter. Matter gives rise to life, in the sense that matter becomes an occasion for life to express herself in 1,000 ways, in 1,000,000 ways, in innumerable ways. There is life everywhere in various forms, in various proportions, in various qualities, in various degrees of achievement. Life is present there because of that. Now, only because this has happened as a result of, one might say, sacrifice of life by entering into matter, that now the higher powers can enter in it, mind can enter, supermind can enter. Had supermind entered directly into matter, then it would have simply got crushed. It would have simply got crushed. The purpose of manifestation would not be served. In other words, matter has to be gradually built up to superior degrees. Life in matter becoming an occasion for mind entering into life which is in matter, preparing matter, the material base, for a yet higher power to enter in. Otherwise, matter would have got simply crushed, would have disappeared totally if supermind had descended directly into matter. That is a part of wisdom, and therefore these stages are important. Life becomes prana, and she becomes the leader of life here in matter, in padartha, kosha. Prana becomes the leader. Manomaya Purusha enters in, Pranamaya Purusha enters in, and the evolution is that way, gradually built up, preparing a better and better support in matter for the supermind to descend. So that is the cosmic dimension of the entry of life. And what Savitri is now seeing is actually the giant head of life present here in the cosmos in all her gigantic proportions, great as well as ugly. Everything is present in life. In that sense, what Savitri was seeing earlier, the hungry wolves waiting for her flesh, was a smaller danger, and she could easily overcome that danger with the power of the Savior name. That was her immediate recognition of the power of Savior name. But here is now something on a much higher proportion. Life in a full magnitude is what is present into Savitri when she is entering into the inner countries. And what we have here is a fairly elaborate, very beautiful, very exact, very charming, interesting kind of a description in Savitri here. Into the wideness of her watching self, it brought a grandiose gust of the breath of life. Grandiose gust of the breath of life. He started breathing life into material scene. His torrent carried the world's hopes and fears. The way the life is rushing into matter, it is carrying both hope and fear. Hope for something to happen, fear because something can always spring up from below and spoil the game. His torrent carried the world's hopes and fears. All lives, all nature's dissatisfied, hungry cry and longing all eternity cannot fill. That is the beauty of life's entry. Even eternity cannot fill the longings of nature or the lower nature, but it is the power of life which can do that. Although at the moment it is accompanied by hope and fear. Both the aspects are there. All lives, all natures, dissatisfied, hungry cry, and the longing, all eternity cannot fill. It called to the mountain secrecies of the soul. Mountain secrecies of the soul. What are these mountain secrecies of the soul? Something which is high, lofty, noble, exalted, but hidden from our sight. Those possibilities, those potentialities of the soul, it is that which can be brought down here. And life is calling them. Yes, here are the possibilities of the soul, and life is desiring them to come down here, to manifest them here, to express themselves here. That is her greatness. And the longing all eternity cannot fill. It called to the mountain secrecies of the soul, and the miracle of the never dying fire. Never dying fire. There is the Agni burning constantly deep in our soul. And it is Agni who can do the transformative act. Agni is the builder of the forms, and it is he who can shape things. And if he does it, then even the physical can get transformed. In fact, that is the necessary condition. It is the work of Agni to transform the physical, to establish Agni in the physical, in the very cells of the body. That is the great tapasya. That is the great yogic pursuit. That is the thing which the mother was doing in her yoga of the cellular transformation, to establish the will of the Supreme in the cells of the body. When the will of the Supreme is established in the cells of the body, then they open out to its power, and then the real work of physical transformation can begin. Agni, that is the divine will, and the mother was establishing Agni in her physical. Well, the Vedic phrase says it very distinctly, very beautifully, very pointedly, with a yogic charge in it, that our body is an unbaked vessel. Unbaked vessel. Atapta tanu. It is a vessel which has not been baked. In other words, our body has not entered into the yogic fire, that it can become tapta, that it can become baked. Only when the vessel is baked properly, it can retain its form. And it is the work of Agni to bake the vessel, to prepare the vessel, to give it firmness, to give shape, so that the divine presence can be held in it, in the vessel. Now, it is that will, it is that Agni which has to get established in the physical. And the miracle of the never dying fire, that is the fire, that is the Agni which cannot be extinguished, which cannot be quenched off, which cannot be dispelled at all, you see. It called the mountain secrecy is the soul, and the miracle of the never-dying fire. It spoke to some first inexpressible ecstasy. Once that vessel has become tapta, baked, then it can hold ecstasy, it can hold ananda, it can hold amrita, the heavenly nectar, then only it can hold. It spoke to some first inexpressible ecstasy hidden in the creative beat of life. That is that ecstasy which is present in the beat of life, and it can be held easily then by the body. Out of the nether unseen deeps, it tore its lure and magic of disordered bliss, threw away what has not been organized. Into earth light poured its maze of tangled charm, and hid a draught of nature's primitive joy. All the small little things it has thrown into that fire. And the fire and mystery of forbidden delight, the delight which has been denied so far, then it can hold. That is the quality of the tapta tanu, the baked vessel. When the vessel becomes tapta, then it can hold that ecstasy, that joy, that amrita. Without properly baking the vessel, you cannot hold in it the divine joy. The joy cannot be contained in it. If at all it is brought down into that, it will crack, it will get crushed, it will get broken into small pieces. Tanu will become fragments. If it is brought down, that amruta, if it is brought down into that vessel, it will crack. Therefore, it is that fire which has to be kindled in the physical. Into earth light poured its maze of tangled charm, and hid a draught of nature's primitive joy, and a fire and mystery of forbidden delight. Forbidden because it cannot hold. Luckily it cannot do that, otherwise the vessel will get crushed. The purpose will not be served. Drunk from the world libido's bottomless well. That is the quality of life. It can bring that ecstasy. It can also drink the ugly fluid rising from below. Passions, lust, greed, all these vital elements which are present there in the form of a liquid, so to say, they will rush up and they can spoil the whole thing. Drunk from the world libido's bottomless well, and the honey sweet poison wine of lust and death that can happen here. But dreamed a vantage of glory of life's God. But this great life which is entering here, this great breath of life, what does it dream of? It dreams of something from high to come and enter into it. God's life's gods should enter into that. But dream a vantage of glory of life's gods. That is what she dreams, not the poison wine. And felt the celestial raptures, golden sting. Then only it can hold that joy when the fire is properly kindled. Well, that is the expectation of this breath of life. It sees both the aspects of opposition, something rising from below, and something trying to descend into this form, into this shape, into this mold, into this vessel, into this tanu. When that tanu is ready, and if it can hold it, then the purpose of life will be served. Life will be happy. That the reason for which she had entered into matter is fulfilled, and that is her greatness.